Welcome to the Brighter Living Podcast, where we bring you inside the scoop on real estate, business, and everything in between.
We are your hosts, Holly Verostic and Sam Ilstrup of the Radiant Home Group, here to help you navigate the world of buying, selling, and thriving in Northern Colorado.
Whether you're a first-time buyer, seasoned seller, or just curious about the market, we're here to share expert insights, relatable stories, and interviews with inspiring business owners.
So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's dive into the world of real estate and beyond.
Holly, it's spring. People are wondering what's going on with the market right now. Is it a seller's or a buyer's market? What are you seeing with home prices? And what are you seeing with how long homes are sitting on the market right now?
So first, I will say it's super exciting that the spring market is here. And I think that really our spring market started like a month ago. So more houses started coming on the market and more buyers started coming in. The interest rates are kind of trending down a little bit. So some buyers came in, made it exciting for a little bit. It slowed down for a minute because it's spring break, right? And all of a sudden spring break will be done and then it will get more exciting after that. But I will say that it is definitely a buyer market right now. And we have a lot of inventory. There's a lot of homes that are just sitting on the market. They're not priced correctly. So they're just sitting and hanging out. And when a house sits on the market for too long, people think that there's something wrong with it.
I would too.
It might not be anything though, other than it's priced too high. I've actually shown some houses, and that's a strategic thing that I do for buyers, is to go see some of these houses that have been sitting on the market for a little bit longer. We run some numbers on them and come to find out that they're actually just priced over market value. Homes like that are not selling right now. So when we are working with our sellers, we are making sure that we're pricing everything accurately in the very beginning. And we might actually be listing $15,000 to $20,000 under market value on purpose. Depends on the seller, depends on their timeline, but we want to be pretty smart with those numbers in the beginning, because if we price way too high in the beginning, it's just going to sit. And then we do price drop after price drop after price drop to get that house to be sold.
And I think that's important that you stated that, because some people just heard other realtors are going to tell you that they can get $20,000 more because you're saying we're going to go maybe 15 to 20 under market value. So I think that's important to state there, is you're not saying that they're going to get less money, but going lower might actually save them money in the long run.
Yes, and I think that that's huge, to be honest, up front. We are very, very, very active in this market. We have a lot of listings on the market. We know what the market is doing. So it's important to tell our sellers that, for one, we're going to price it correctly in the very beginning. And depending on their timeline, depending on the condition, location, all of these different things come into play. That is how we are going to strategically price their home to get it to sell. And there's a lot at stake when it comes down to that. And I usually tell my seller that, hey, if another agent that you're interviewing tells you that they're going to get more money than what I'm telling you that we're going to list it for, they're wrong. They're wrong.
And with your experience, you can confidently say that.
I can. I can, absolutely. It's really that, I see everything that's happening. We're watching numbers on a daily basis. We're watching what the interest rates are doing. We see everything that's happening, and all of that comes into play when pricing a home. So we just have to be careful. We have to be a little bit more conservative when we're pricing houses in the market that we're in currently. Now, as spring heats up, we might see a little bit different, but there's no crystal ball right at the moment. We don't know what interest rates are going to do, even though they are trending down. We don't know how far down they're going to go. We don't know how much inventory is going to come on. And with inventory, a lot of inventory comes on. That's more competition, which could essentially mean that the house prices are not going to come up. They'll actually be competing with each other. So it could be bringing those down slightly again. Yeah, so listing now in the early spring market is actually a really good plan.
Okay. Well, when talking about pricing your home to make sure that we're getting it sold and we're getting the best price, that's one side of the court. When talking about appraisals, right? Because we can think something's worth X amount all day long, but if it doesn't appraise, then we're kind of in a different situation there, figuring out if we're going to move forward. So getting away from us pricing the house, What are you experiencing with the appraisers right now, and what kind of insight can you give on that?
So it's actually a pretty complex question or complex answer. So when we're pricing houses, we're pulling comps from up to 6 months ago. We want to use the most recent ones because anything that sold 6 months ago was in kind of a different market than we are today. So if we have some comps that happened last month or even the month before, those are better comps for us. Now, depending on how long a house is on the market before it goes under contract, an appraiser might come in and actually appraise it lower than what we had because there were some houses that just closed that are now our new comps versus the comps that we had, right? So pricing, again, strategically in the very beginning, we're coming a little bit under market value, knowing that there are some houses that could potentially sell before ours does, which then turn into comps, bringing our appraisal down. So unfortunately, we have, just as an industry here in Colorado, we have actually seen a lot of low appraisals coming in lately. Yes.
When they come in low, what happens from there?
So it opens up renegotiations, right? So the negotiation period opens up and you basically have 3 different options. Well, you have like 4 different options. Buyer can actually cover the difference between the loan amount and the appraised value, so they can come up and cover that. The buyer and seller can actually maybe meet in the middle. Seller can come down in price a little bit, buyer can come up. The seller can actually drop the price down to the appraised value. That's actually what we're seeing most of lately because it is a strong seller market. Or it terminates. That is the worst case scenario. It can terminate. And it really just depends on, again, the house, the location, the condition. There are a lot of buyers. Like I just had one not too long ago. It came in low, but we priced the house at the top of the comps.
Okay.
The appraisal came in at that. However, I had multiple offers on that house. It went about $27,000 over market value,
awesome.
Right? Which is great.
Yeah.
The buyer covered it. So there was no appraisal objection. Seller didn't have to come down. The buyer paid the difference between their loan value and the appraised value.
I'm sure your seller was super happy.
They are ecstatic.
That's awesome.
Yep. They've been telling everybody about me. It's great. Best compliment we can ever receive is when our clients tell everybody about us and how good of a job we're doing.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah. And when you have a win like that, that's that grand slam.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Before they even list their house, right? Before we even get to that price and whatnot, obviously they're contacting us and setting up a time for a walkthrough and allowing us to see their home. What are you looking for? Well, you're going through these homes, and what are some suggestions you're making? And what do sellers need to do to make sure their home's ready for a sale?
So as a team, we have really high expectations for our sellers. We want to make their house look its absolute best and do everything that we possibly can to make it in the best possible condition before we list the house. So as I'm walking through the house, I'm looking for different types of, the clutter. So we're going to ask them to declutter their house. We're looking for any cracks or any maybe deferred maintenance type of things that could be fixed. We don't typically suggest any updates unless it's necessary. If they can actually make money off of an update, we might request that. But I'm not going to ask them to do something like that if it's basically going to be a wash. And then they have to live through a little construction project to basically come out even. Yeah. And in my opinion, especially in this market right now, and depending on seller, what's the word that I'm looking for? It depends on their timeline. That's what I'm looking
timeline,
for.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tough words.
It depends. Words are hard sometimes, but it depends on their timeline, right? So if they need, X amount of dollars in the condition that their house is in, we are going to make as many suggestions as we possibly can to make their house in as close to perfect as we can. And in this market, it matters, right? So the curb appeal, so anything, as we're walking up to the house, I'm already making notes and saying, okay, for the curb appeal of this house, and it's hard this time of year in Colorado because everything's dead and nothing looks great anyway, which could be a pro or a con, right? Sometimes maybe their grass isn't great anyway. So it's good to sell while their grass is still dead because it doesn't really come back great anyway. Anyway, but everything that we're looking for is to make it in the best condition. I also do a staging consult. So the staging consult is on me. I pay to have a stager come walk through the house and make any suggestions that might make some rooms look bigger. Maybe we need to move some furniture around, or it needs to be a full stage. And that is something, is an option for our sellers if they wanted to do a full stage of their house. Staged homes, whether it's the seller's belongings or the staging belonging, right? They tend to sell for more money. So that's part of the reason why I do that staging consult. And the stager that I have been working with for a long time now, she is so good at especially just helping people decide how a room looks best.
Right.
And always we tell our sellers less is more.
Yeah.
But that deferred maintenance kind of thing, I mean, those are things that pre-inspection, we want to make sure that all of those things are good and ready. So a lot of times we do drone fly-throughs depending on the price point of the house. Those drones that are flying through these houses and making everything look amazing, they see everything.
Yeah.
So if we're just stashing stuff away, the drone's going to see it, and we don't want that. So expectation is that we are basically hiding everything, right?
Yeah.
We're going to pack away everything that they don't use on a daily basis. We're going to put things in good places. If they have a trash can in their kitchen that they use on a daily basis, we're there. We're taking that trash can out. We're going to put it in the garage. The drone fly through, and we'll put it back.
Yeah.
And we're not judging. Our homes look like we live in them too, but they are trying to sell their house. So it's nothing personal at all. It's just what's going to get them the best result and the top dollar.
Yes. And I actually tell people that all the time because my house is lived in, right? I have stuff on my counters. There's dog toys all over my living room.
How's your office looking?
My office is cleanish.
Okay.
It's cleanish. It's good. But anyway, we live in our homes, but when we're selling our houses, we actually have to make them the best that we possibly can because other people need to see that.
Yep.
They want to see the good. We also request that they take down any personal pictures. So family pictures, we're having them take down because believe it or not, there's a lot of people that can't envision themselves living in that house because they see the family pictures.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're walking through someone else's home instead of envisioning it being their house.
Absolutely.
So we have them take down that kind of stuff. The staging, that goes the same way. If you have an empty house, so a lot of landlords are actually selling their houses right now because of the new rental laws in Colorado.
Okay.
They've gotten pretty strict. So we have a lot of landlords that are selling their homes, their rentals, and they're empty.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right? So with those vacant properties, we actually bring our stager in and put all of the furniture in and make it look really pretty because there's a lot of people, again, the people that can't envision them walking through someone else's house, they also can't see what a house could be with furniture in it, right? They might not be able to see it. So when we stage those properties, it actually helps them see what it could be.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. And then a lot of times our buyers want to buy the house furnished with the staging furniture, which I never suggest because staging furniture isn't great. It's very uncomfortable.
No, yeah, I think I sat on a couch once and it almost broke. So
Right.
don't recommend that.
Yeah. Well, and with the staging too, and I talked a little bit about the drone photography that we do, or the drone videos that we do, not photography, but the videos. The drone fly-throughs and all of that stuff is something that we do to make sure that our listings stand out.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have some of the best, in my opinion, pictures that get done. We actually have a crew, and our crew is amazing, and it's super fun to be there on picture days.
It is.
So we have one of the crew members does the still pictures. We have one of the crew members that does the floor plan.
Yep.
One of them does drone pictures, so the exterior of the home, and then we have our drone flyer.
Yeah.
And that's so fun. So when you list with us, being able to stand in the garage, and he's got his VR goggles on, his drone that he made himself, he 3D printed that,
He did, yeah.
and it's like this big, it's the coolest thing. But you get to stand there and watch it on screen, him flying through, and everybody's like, as he's going through like the curtains and stuff. It's pretty amazing. But those are the things that we've done. And in this market, a lot of agents, like I'm seeing a lot of, I'm not picking on anybody, but I am, camera phone pictures. right?
Yeah, I've seen
But a lot of
videos.
agents, because this market has become a lot slower for most agents, they've backed off a lot of what they're doing. And for our sellers, we as a team have actually picked it up.
Yeah.
So we're doing bigger, better pictures. We're doing the drone videos. We're doing a lot of different things. And then we can probably lead into marketing. So our marketing for our sellers. Do you want to talk about that?
In regards to what? There's
What we do.
so much. There's
Yeah.
so much.
All of the things that we do for our sellers.
Well, I think what's super cool and what makes us stand out is through our business model, we are truly about making relationships and whatnot. So whether that be relationships with people that own huge Facebook groups, right? I mean, I think there's 8 Facebook groups where we are currently the only active realtor that can post any real estate stuff. On top of that, our networking group, all the relationships we've made with them, we're referring them out. We're doing all these great things for them. They're doing that back to us, but they're also sharing all our new listings through their Facebook pages and whatnot, or sharing them in groups. And then just our daily personal marketing, right? So we're posting it on our business, our personal, and then through that, sharing it to a plethora of different Facebook groups to make sure it's getting out there as much as possible. So that's a little bit more on the social media side of things. But then whenever we host open houses, we're going out over a day before, door knocking, inviting all the neighbors, asking all the right questions to see if they know anybody that's looking to buy. And even if they don't, having those neighbors be able to come over to the open house when there's other buyers walking through, just kind of creating that FOMO, fear of missing out, just really makes all the difference. Because if you can get 10 people in a house and maybe only 5 of them are actual buyers, just them seeing those other people are going to think they have competition, and it's going to make them want that house that much more. So, did I miss anything? What other type of marketing
I
are
don't
we
think
doing?
so, but I do want to touch on those open houses too, because I have always felt like the open houses don't ever really sell the house, right? They don't. The way that we do it and how we're marketing it online, for one, but for 2, how we are going out to doors in their neighborhood and just talking to the neighbors and basically inviting them to come to the open house, check it out. But we're also reminding them that they have an opportunity right now to pick their neighbor, right? So then it's not just us marketing that open house. All of a sudden we have the neighbors that are talking about it. This great house just popped up. Maybe they'll come over, they'll take some pictures. Maybe they'll tell a friend, oh my gosh, you can live next door to me or across the park from me or whatever that looks like. But then they get excited about it because we are bringing that to them. And I think that that's one of the things that, I mean, for the longest time, I was like, I don't like open houses. They're not for me. I don't like it. They don't sell the houses, right? So I'm working to get leads sitting in open house. But really the way that we've switched things around is actually working towards selling the
for
home.
the seller. Yeah, absolutely. And we even have proof a few weeks ago. We hosted an open house in Frederick. The end of that weekend, I'm pretty sure that home was under contract, was it not?
It did.
Yeah. So
It did.
I think that's something we should maybe keep track of each year so we can go to our sellers in the future and show them that, hey, our open houses do work with all these extra things we're doing for them.
Yeah. It's big. It's big. And I mean, the marketing, so I hold my marketing degree, and everybody on the team has basically learned all of the different things. So the social media that you talked about and everything, it works. It absolutely works. And the relationships. So it's not, when you talked about the business relationships that we have, I mean, we're helping these businesses grow, but they're also helping us too. And when we share our listings all over the place, like, they're sharing them, right? So it's not just us that's marketing. We've developed this huge network of people that are also, they're as excited as us, you know, and they're actually invested, I believe.
Absolutely.
They're invested, and they're like, once it goes under contract, they're like super stoked about it, and they help celebrate with us, you know.
They're a part of the team.
They
for
are.
Sure. Yeah.
They are. And I think that it's not just the Radiant Home Group. It's everybody else that we've come in contact with that is now like a part of our story, you know, and they're working with us to grow and help our clients. And it's amazing. It's one of the coolest things that I think that we've made.
It's growing fast.
It is growing fast.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about what's going on in the market right now. how to price your home correctly and why it's so important and the different variables that come into play, negotiating and whatnot. I guess the last question would really be is now a good time for sellers to list their home?
So let's unpack that because everybody always wants to know when the best time of the year is to sell a house. And I will tell you that the most busy I am is the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter is winter.
Really?
And everybody's like,
Realtors don't say that.
No.
They take vacation.
Right. And that's right. Is because everything slows down, right? According to most agents, everything slows down. And I think that that's an option, right? Do they want it to slow down? That's yes. They want to slow down because it's the holidays. But the fourth quarter for me is my busiest of the year. Okay. So when you ask the question of when is the right time to sell, the right time to sell is when it's right for you. Absolutely. Right? If there's a job relocation or this or that, like if you want to sell right now or you just want to get a bigger home or a smaller home, like it's when it's right for you. And you can't let the market dictate when that is, right? So everybody thinks that the spring market, so here we are, we're in the spring market. It's just starting, we're gearing up. Once spring break is over, everything might get a little bit crazy. Yeah. But the truth is that the spring market is when everybody thinks that they should be selling, right? But there's a lot of competition, which actually could drive prices down a little bit. It's still a great time to sell, don't get me wrong. And with our interest rates trending down right now, I think it's going to be a really wild spring. I think it's going to be great and fun. And I think that anybody that has the opportunity to sell their houses right now, I mean, it's great, right? If they want to, let's go. And we're going to make the absolute best of it. And we're going to get the top dollar for their house. Now, a couple months ago, I kept telling people, hey, get ahead of the spring market. Right? Get ahead of the spring market. And those people sold. There was a lot less competition, but it was still a good market, right? Right now is a good market. During the summer is going to be a great market. Around Thanksgiving is still going to be a great market. Everything just changes and shifts. It's always a good time to sell, in my opinion.
You just got to know how to attack each market.
That's right. And staying as active as we are in the market, I mean, we know exactly what has to happen. And the truth is that no matter what the market's doing, what the prices are, really, you're never really losing money when you are selling a house, as long as you don't sell in a down market, which we are not in right now. Yes, values have come down, but they just corrected from an artificial market that we were in COVID. They've just corrected themselves. So now we're at a more actual value than we were when it was so crazy high. So things are looking good, I think. And it's a better market, and it's a more healthy and a sustainable market today than it was 3 years ago.
Well, what about the sellers that in their head they're thinking next year? How soon should they be reaching out to you and I?
So I tell people all the time that as soon as they have that inkling that they want to make a move, give us a call. And the reason is because there's so many different things that we can do. We can go do a walkthrough. We can give them some advice if they need to paint, or if they want to put in flooring, or whatever that looks like. Or if they're going to buy a house too, they want to talk to a lender right away. And we have those amazing connections too. But all of that comes into play the second that they're thinking about it, because we can prepare them to be ready. And I mean, ready. Yeah. Everything is set. Their house is beautiful. We can have them completely ready before they list, instead of let's hurry, which we do that too. We do a lot of, somebody wants their house on the market within, 24 hours, and we can do it. We can do it all day long. Yeah. But it's easier that second that they're thinking about it to reach out, and we can make it happen.
And I think it's important to state too, it is not our job to sell somebody on selling their house or sell somebody on buying a house. We're there to advise and be there for when they're ready.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I never am going to force somebody to sell their home and tell them something that's not true to get them to sell their house. And I think that that's one of the most beautiful things about our team, is that we are very ethical, we're very honest, and we are very we're there living the moments with them. And I think that is, seriously, it's the most beautiful thing of our team, because we're just there for people. And I mean, even when they are not like ready to sell, we're still there. We're still building relationships. We're still giving them a call, asking them if there's anything that they or that they need. I can't talk, but it's really finding the things and making those connections. And when they're ready, like we're there. That's a wrap for this episode of the Brighter Living Podcast. We hope that you found it valuable and insightful.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps us reach more people.
And don't forget to follow us on social media for more real estate tips, behind the scenes content, and updates on future episodes.
Have questions or a topic you'd like us to cover? Send us a message. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Brighter Living Podcast. Thank you.